Oh, hi, Lee. How's it going?
Oh, fine, thanks, Mike.
I was talking about the software. How's AS400 looking?
Great.
Great.
Yeah, really good.
I see. Have Waterston, Simpson and Bradcock been round for their briefing yet?
Couldn't say.
What do you mean you couldn't say?
Well, I put Bob and Nigel on that job. They had some guys round yesterday. Not the usual bunch, though. These guys seemed quite switched on.
When is my agency going to be briefed? The launch is only 3 weeks away.
Ask Bob or Nigel.
Jenny, do you know what's happening with these agency briefings?
Nope.
Oh, for heaven's sake, somebody must be managing this project.
Well, Harry's in charge of marketing and the, what's he call it?
The concept.
Aha, that's right, the concept. And I'm looking after logistics and the press.
I see.
Well, that's the way Harry wants to play it. I'm sure he knows how to handle a launch.
What's the matter, Mike? Feeling a little left out?
Oh, don't be ridiculous. I've got far too much on my plate as it is.
Looks like it.
I have a full schedule.
Like what?
Well, I thought I might look at some of the case studies from the training course.
Oh, good.
So, I'm 30 meters underwater, diving on this submerged wreck.
How exciting.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyhow, one of the young girls I'm instructing gets caught in some old cables. She starts to panic, and the more she struggles, the more caught she's becoming. By the time I get to her, she is completely wrapped up in this stuff.
So what did you do?
Well, I knew my knife wouldn't cut through steel. But then I remembered something my instructor in the Marines once told me. Oh, hi, Jenny.
Go on.
I'll tell you later. I don't want to bore you with the story of the whole rescue mission.
Oh, sounds interesting. Harry was just telling me about his year as a scuba diving instructor before he went to Harvard. Scuba diving?
I'll finish the story later. We have much more important things to discuss right now.
Oh?
Jenny has briefed you about the research I want you to do?
Yes. Once the outline concept has been agreed by the marketing agency, I hold some focus groups with key customers to see what they think. Meanwhile, the agency will do some market research with end-user customers.
That's right. It's something that we've got to do just to confirm that the agency are going along the right lines.
But what happens if the research gives the concept the thumbs down?
With a top agency on the job? Highly unlikely.
You mean you've already appointed the agency?
Yeah, last week.
Well, that's not what Mike thinks. He's expecting Waterston, Simpson and Bradcock to get a chance at it.
I think it's rather late in the day to start bringing in another agency, don't you? Particularly some third-rate local crew. We have to think big.
Mike's not going to like that.
Don't worry about Mike. I'll handle him.
Rather you than me.
Brenda, Jenny, let's get this straight. I am running marketing, and that means I am running this launch.
Fine by me.
Now, for the purposes of this project, we are a team. I know you work to Mike and you, Jenny, are a colleague. But we have to get used to the idea that for the duration of this launch, we are a tiger team.
What's a tiger team?
Tiger teams are made up of people who have been handpicked and taken away from their normal task and are dedicated to working on a project. This tiger team consists of the three of us plus Susan.
What's she doing?
She's sussing out as much as she can about the competition.
Oh.
For a tiger team to be successful, it needs total commitment from each member and a strong project manager, which in this case happens to be me, not Mike. Understood?
Understood. I just feel a bit sorry for him. He seems so out of things at the moment.
Well, we'll never get the job done in time if we have to keep referring to other people every time a decision has to be made.
That's right, Jenny. I'm relying on total commitment from both of you.
Great. I'll play my part. But when are you going to tell me about the girl on the shipwreck?
Shipwreck? Oh, of course. Can I take a rain check with you on that one?
A rain check? Yeah, sure.
I think we'd better get on.
Oh, Jenny, I need to go over the arrangements for the industry analysts with you. Could you do a working lunch in my office today?
Working lunch? Yeah, sure. No problem.
See you then.
Hampton Court. Henry VIII's favourite summer palace on the River Thames. For 11 months of the year, a haven of peace and tranquillity. But for 3 weeks every summer, its peace is shattered by the largest horticultural happening in the country, the Royal Horticultural Society's Hampton Court Palace Flower Show. In just 3 weeks, 120 contractors will move thousands of tons of equipment and build 3 bridges.
What I have to do is ensure that all the various elements come together, rather like in a theatre. But unlike the theatre, a lot of our parts are unspeaking parts. The biggest players here are plants.
In 21 days, there is no time at all for anything to go wrong. We have to be sure that by today everything is right.
And after 3 weeks, we've built a mini town with some gardens that look as if they've been here permanently. That's a real kick.
Adrian Greenoak has a team of colleagues from the RHS to help him with this project. A key member is Technical Director Jeff Morrison.
When will the water be in? Or will there be a line, a main line, going along the back?
Well, we're right here now because the new water main comes right up down to where the bottom of the bank, underneath the ramp. There's no gas, there's no main drainage, there's no water, there are no electrics. Everything is brought in to service what at the end of the day is certainly on the scale of a smallish town.
Well, wouldn't it make more sense to pull it slightly away off the front of that marquee anyway?
Nick Yarsley, Sales and Planning Manager, spends months producing a master plan of the site, which is constantly updated.
Nick Yarsley. And one of my sort of jobs is really to keep an eye on what's coming in, where it's being built, seeing that it's in the right place when it is being built. I spent 5 days before we actually take over, marking it out with my ground crew. And I have to say I can boast of fairly good accuracy within about 100 mil, so it's quite crucial on a site when you haven't got any more space to go outside the fence.
There are huge numbers of people that are simply here for the time of the event. By the Saturday before the event, there'll be something like 2,000 people working on this site.
Yeah, you know we're waiting for this, don't you? Everything has to be pigeonholed, so one job has to follow in a natural sequence with the other. Timetables are all important, schedules are very important, people arrival times are absolutely planned out. Certainly not to the minute, but certainly to the hour. Right, so if you just want to leave it over there, anywhere there, by that white van, I'll move it. Okay, cheers. Jeff Morrison. Hello, Hugh. Yes, that was quick.
The deadlines are always being missed. But it's up to me and my colleagues to understand when that gets dangerous, it's more important sometimes to know the reason why.
Can you give him this number? Make sure he's got it. Okay, bye. That St John ambulance haven't turned up today.
It's really a question of people understanding why that deadline is there and how that works. In other words, if they don't get that done by that particular time, that has a knock-on effect to this, and this, and that they understand that and feel just a negative responsibility, but also a positive responsibility there, so that they feel part of a team.
Hello, nice to see you. Yeah, welcome to the show. Thanks very much.
So you've actually got different teams working on specific projects or parts of a project. Some of those you will take off then to manage part of another happening, another event.
Ah, Jackie, what are my messages? None. I see. No, I'm not expecting anything important. Look, if anybody does call for me, I'll be in the training room. Watching videos. Yeah.
Hi, guys. How did you get on with the agency briefing?
It was quite an experience. Half a dozen of them turned up. Yeah, more ponytails than at a gymkhana.
So what do they think of the product?
Well, I started to take them through the technical spec, but I think I lost them.
Yeah, they were a bit upset when they realised they were launching a piece of software.
I showed them our new micro modem chip, and they asked if we could make it bigger.
Bigger?
Oh, they're used to launching cars, apparently. He said they were easier to photograph. He made some joke about bringing his microscope next time.
Yeah, but they did grasp the importance of AS400. I mean, did they at least come up with a name?
Well, they brainstormed it, apparently, and came up with
Overlord. Yeah. And they were quite proud about that. It's project management software. So they thought Overlord gave the right kind of impression.
Overlord? Well, I suppose they are the experts.
Well, I was thinking about it in the bath last night, and it occurred to me that Overlord doesn't really address the compatibility issue.
Compatibility issue?
Well, it only really struck Bob and me when we started working on the project together.
It's obvious, really. AS400 is project management software. It helps you coordinate all the elements that you need to run a project.
I have heard that rumour. I did invent it.
Well, that means it has to be compatible with all other software you use. You know, programs like running your budget, diaries, word processing, database.
But we've always known that. Compatibility. It's up to the customer to ensure that his various systems talk to each other.
Yeah, well, that's fine, provided you don't leave the office. But what if you use a palm-top computer?
Well, we didn't foresee that palm tops would become a major platform for the product.
Well, think about it. You're a project manager rushing around trying to make your project happen. Now, you need to keep your team updated. You need instant access to all the information on a project wherever you are. Now, you're going to wait till you get back to your office PC? No, you're going to get yourself a palm top. It is the project management tool.
But this works on a palm top. What's your problem?
There's no problem at all, provided you only use it to work with someone on the same system as you. But as soon as you start to try and communicate with a supplier or subcontractor on a different system, well, then you can forget it.
Hang on a minute. Let me get my head around this.
Well, while we've been developing the AS400, the world's moved on. We've invented a product that's going to be out of date before it's even launched.
I don't believe this. You're right. If I'm using Windows NT and my client's using OS2 or using a Mac, then they can't talk to each other. How could I have been so stupid?
Well, look at the bright side. At least we've realised our mistake before the launch.
Yeah. What are we going to do about it?
Overlord.
Great, isn't it?
Is it?
Usually the first idea the creatives come up with is hardly worth the paper it's sketched on, but this is inspired.
I'm not very good at judging creative concepts.
Trust me, this is a humdinger. I can see the ads now. We can use a Darth Vader type character that the copyright will cost a fortune, but it'll be worth it. Overlord, may the Force be with you. It's brilliant.
Isn't it a bit macho?
Exactly. The market will love it. 86% of software is bought by men.
Yes, but 86% of the people who have to use it are women.
It's perfect for the product. This is what people want. Mastery over all those complex but necessary bits of software that plague their lives. Trust me, it's a winner.
Okay, Harry, it's a great name.
And a great campaign.
I'll drink to that. Now, about these industry analysts you mentioned this morning.
Yes, they are very important. Perhaps the most important part of our audience.
Who are they?
They are the financial experts in the field of software. They follow all the software companies from the majors like Microsoft, IBM, Digital, down to the medium-sized players like Softex.
Why are they so important?
They make recommendations to the merchant banks and large investors about whether to buy a company's shares or sell. The banks are hopeless at understanding the significance of new products, so they depend on this handful of analysts to tell them what is going on.
How powerful are they?
They can double your share price or kill you stone dead.
I see.
Which is why we have to be extra specially nice to them and make sure they get the message that we want to give them.
How are we going to do that?
I want you to take personal care of them at the launch. Arrange chauffeur-driven limos for them and get them the best seats in the house.
Well, that's going to cost.
Well, we're already over budget.
How much?
Boy, it's hard to say, but Brad's team at the agency don't come cheap.
10%?
More like 60.
60%?
You heard John before he left. This launch is do or die.
Have you spoken to Mike and Lee about this?
Don't worry, I'm seeing Matt later. He'll agree to an increase.
Yes, but this is actually a decision for the Redware board.
Well, you've just agreed that we have to spend the money. I mean, what will the analysts think of us if there's no limo?
I suppose so, but...
Well, that's 2 of us in favor. I'll speak to Lee about it as well.
But what about Mike?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about Mike.
What about him?
Well, I've noticed the 2 of you don't seem to see eye to eye. I hope you don't mind me mentioning this.
We have had our differences in the past, it's true.
I wonder if he is the right person to lead Redware when John moves aside. I mean, isn't he getting just a little past his prime?
It's now less than 48 hours before the Hampton Court Palace Flower Show is due to open. All the main marquees are up, and the exhibitors' stands and gardens are nearing completion.
Today, Sunday, and tomorrow, Monday, are the crucial days in terms of tying up all the final preparations for the event. Yesterday and the day before, we had a great deal of sudden rain. And there are elements on the show site that we need to paint, and there are some elements that need to be painted a very, very specific colour. We can't do that in the rain, and we can't test it in the rain. The essence of it is communication, so that as soon as you know that there is going to be some hold-up, that you talk to the relevant people so that they're all aware. The worst thing that happens is that one of the team of people working on that area of the project starts to work independently without the rest of that team there to do the work, and of course often that's a disaster because they must tie in with another area of the team.
Rebecca, have you ever done any market research?
Yeah, loads with Mike. You do it before any product launch.
Why?
Well, Mike claims it protects you from the chairman's wife syndrome.
What's that?
If the chairman's wife doesn't like the name of a new product or the colour of the box, you can point to 9 out of 10 IT managers who do.
So it's just to cover your back? And I thought I was doing something really important.
It is an important job. For instance, if the research should agree with the chairman's wife and says a product stinks, you really have to do something about it, and quick. Good market testing can help avoid expensive mistakes.
Right. I see. Thanks, Rebecca.
My pleasure.
Rebecca? May I ask you something else?
Sure.
What's a rain check?
Harry, come in. Glad to meet you.
Thank you for making the time to see me, Mr. Davis.
Call me Matt, please. You settling in okay?
Fine, thanks.
Good. Well, we're both the new boys in our jobs. Look, I'm interested to know how you're doing with the launch of the AS400.
Overlord. We're calling it Overlord.
Right, Overlord. Anyhow, how's it going?
Very well, thanks. We've got some really strong ideas from the agency, and the plans for the launch are looking great.
Still on schedule?
Absolutely.
Good. And budget?
We've had to increase the budget.
Not so good.
It wasn't my decision. The other board members insisted.
I see.
But it's going to be money well spent, I assure you.
We'll know when the sales orders come in.
Well, I'm sure that Mike and his sales team will do their bit.
Harry, there's a lot hanging on this launch. Our share price is under a lot of pressure at the moment. Redware getting back into profit would really help things.
Yeah, I hear that John Wood's having trouble in Mexico.
Maybe. Why do you mention it?
It's just that I was wondering how long John Wood is going to be around.
When he gets back from Mexico, he's appointing a new MD, then who knows?
Matt, let me level with you. I want to put myself forward as a contender for the MD's job.
It's the first day the Hampton Court Palace Flower Show is open to the public. Today, the RHS expects about 35,000 visitors.
A show like this has a tremendous vital dynamic. You can almost feel it wherever you go. It's very tangible.
It's just very friendly, and for such a huge show, that must be quite unique.
Well, the organisation's very good. If you want a certain design of stand, you can always get what you want. You're not sort of stuck to certain set measurements.
It's done like clockwork every year, and it works well.
This is as good as it's ever been today. It's ticked over. And I know, I've walked right through the event. There are some areas which are congested for a while, but what I do is listen. I listen and watch how people move, how people respond to a pause or a wait of 30 seconds or a minute. Are they getting irritated? The answer is no, they're not. Today it has begun to hum. That's the real sign of success.
But Jeff Morrison is still struggling with some basic infrastructure problems.
To be able to walk around basically now with a target on my back, with the posh togs now on, from how you've seen me previously, and go and see all the people that have also put a lot of hard work in, and to go around, and they're so enthusiastic, it's unbelievable. The comments, they're coming to me, and any problems they've had are minor, little glitches which we can deal with between now and next year.
Is this working for you? Is this working for you?
Obviously the wheelbarrows are working very well.
The wheelbarrows are good. And we're very happy that all the conversations and all the planning and the drawings and the hours that go into it have now come to fruition and have proved yet again to be another success.
We've been running tests using the AS400 on a palm top. As soon as you try to interrogate remote databases, it's about as efficient as 2 tin cans and a piece of string.
We're 3 weeks away from launch. What are we going to do?
I don't know. Perhaps marketing can hype it.
Lee, my agency been in for briefing yet?
No, Harry's already given the job to his agency.
What? With a conniving little...
Well, it's a bit academic now anyway.
We've hit a bit of a snag with the AS400.
What snag?
It doesn't work on palm tops.
But it has to. Combine AS400 with a palm top, and anyone who manages a virtual team will pull your arm off to buy one.
What the hell's a virtual team?
The future.
Are you sure about that, Mike?
I'd bet my mother on it.